Thanks for tuning into the Texas Scratch King channel. Please don't forget to subscribe, like and share this video. Our content is for educational purposes only. Hope you enjoy it. 3 Champion Pit Stories. Carolina Kennels, ch. Termite Rom. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, Mr. Fletcher Chavis bred some dogs that any dogman would be proud to own. Much of his original stock was from that grand old dog, Champion Yellow John Rom, and for years Mr. Chavis campaigned with that inbred red boy dogs that he had gotten from RT Base. He was rated one of the best. During the mid-1970s an outstanding discovery was made. Vernon Jackson had a dog that he had gotten from Don Mayfield that he called Hank. Inbred from Mayfield's Lightning II blood. Hank never started until he was 3 years old. But when he did, he not only turned out to be a phenomenal performer but an excellent producer as well. He was bred to a bitch of Bob Rast's called Queenie, and from that litter came Jocko, Argo, Pearl, Apple, and a few other good ones. Mr. Chavis ended up with Jocko, and that was the beginning of the famous Red Boy Jocko bloodline. Mr. Chavis campaigned with Jocko and he looked to be unbeatable due to the inherited trait of Hank's backhand style. Jocko became a champion and was retired to stud. Jocko was bred to his sister Apple and several inbred bitches that he sired. These bitches were bred to Yellow John, a triple inbred son of Tramp Red Boy. And that was the beginning of Jocko's fame as a producer. Out of these breedings came Tance Gr. Ch. Yellow Rom, Gaines Jr., Chaviz's Rojo, STP's Gr. Ch. John Boy and his littermate brother Ch. Toro, Alnog with Super Nat's Dead Game Boots, and a host of others. However, there is another side of this story that few people knew about. Mr. Chavis had a bitch by the name of Lady Sassy Mead. She was half Red Boy and half Lonzo's breeding. He bred Lady Sassy Mead to Champion Jocko and created a whole new strain of dogs. In that litter came Dangerous Dan, Thor, Margaret, and Rose. Rose was the grand dam of Gr. Ch. Yellow and Jr. However, these dogs were black in color and were thought not to be up to the standards of the original stock and were sold as pets. Carolina Kennels purchased a son out of Dangerous Dan and a friend purchased a male and a female. The male Carolina Kennels purchased was called Termite. Termite's first show was in 1983 with Hargroves. Termite came in over the weight and had to pay a forfeit. Later on in that year, Termite got hooked into Tant. Tant had a reputation of being one of the best dogmen in the South, and many of Carolina's friends thought they was being too cocky going into him. Termite was declared the winner in 38. Next, Termite won over Jackie S. in 20 minutes and was ready for his championship match. Crenshaw and Tugboat had won several matches and both had outstanding reputations. Carolina Kennels couldn't resist the opportunity of going into the best. Tugboat lived up to his rep for the first 30. Then those Jocko traits started kicking in and Termite was the winner at 58. Well, by this time Carolina Kennels was satisfied with Termite's performance and was considering his retirement. But again couldn't resist another challenge. This time it was the grand old man himself, Fletcher Chavis. Terms of the contract couldn't be agreed upon. So Mr. Chavis sold the dog to Rastaman and said that Big Joe had the perfect style to beat Termite. Rastaman's Big Joe put on a great show. But at 117 Termite won his fourth. Termite was retired after this and was put out to stud. He has produced some very good dogs. Among the best is Gr. Ch. Cirrus. Cirrus won 5, including a victory over Solo's Champion Thunder. Termite died in November of 1995. Dead Serious Kennels, ch. El Diablo Negro. In March of 1995 a young black male dog called Tex was brought to Mad's yard. The dog was owned by Smokey of Texas and was obtained from Chicago Mike by buying a pregnant bitch that had been bred to Wells Ch. Oscar. Tex was your typical Eli Jr. Bullison bred looking dog. His body was long, muscular and big-headed. He had big cutters to match. When Tex turned 14 months old, Smokey was concerned if the dog would even start. So, Mad agreed to help school the young dog. At the time Dead Serious was looking for match dogs and Mad had a proven one-time winner the size of Tex for sale. After only 15 minutes, he had killed his first opponent at an early age. The first 08 minutes Tex buried deep in the shoulders. Teeth sunk to the gums. For the remaining 07 minutes, he lay deep inside the kidney area until the one-time winner lay dead. Dead Serious was convinced and bought Tex from Smokey and changed his name to better suit him. El Diablo Negro, which translates to the Black Devil. Diablo was later rolled about 6 or 7 times in their yard with none of his rolls going over 8 minutes without being stopped. After witnessing Diablo roll, their friend Mr. Woods told them something that molded their philosophy. He said, "Son, put that black dog into shape and I'll find you a role to see how game he is. You bring the dog and I'll bet the money. If you still don't know what to do after that, let him heal up and put him back into shape again. I'll find you a role. Bet the money and you bring Diablo." Well, needless to say, they found the role and they bet the money. For Diablo's first match, we were hooked up into Aries kennels at 47 pounds. At this time, Diablo was 20 months old and was headed south of the border to their backyard, Mexico. On the morning of the show, Diablo weighed in at 51 pounds. Some 4 pounds overweight. But, by 9 p.m. that night, after being walked, rubbed and emptied, Diablo made weight, which was somewhat hard on him. The show was definitely still on. Upon arriving on location, we discovered that Aries Kennels had gone out and borrowed another kennel's dog. The dog was SP's Joker, a 2-time winner and a 2-time best of show. Diablo dominated the Joker dog from start to finish, and by the 33-minute mark Joker sat the line. For Diablo's second match some 5 months after his first win, they was hooked into Norman K's Drexel, him also being a 2-time winner and a truly deep game bulldog. Only this time they traveled east to Cajun Country, Louisiana, with Diablo now being 25 months old. This match was being used as a measurement of where they stood, with Diablo being matched into Mr. K, a legend and one of, if not the most well-respected and honored people in the game. Truly made it an honor. Drexel was to be Diablo's toughest and longest match to becoming a champion. Had Drexel not met up with Diablo, he would have had a long and more promising career in the game. The box was 16 feet by 16 feet. But it could have been 10 feet by 10 feet and neither dog would have touched the walls. It was truly a classic match, Southern style, with Diablo's speed and extremely hard mouth rapidly becoming the deciding factors. Finally, at the 38-minute mark, Drexel was picked up and brought to his corner for courtesy scratch. Upon Drexel's release, he had fallen a total of 3 times, catching himself with his muzzle until finally lunging and taking hold of Diablo to complete a scratch that proved him to be dead game. After and out of work on Drexel, he couldn't be saved, but will always be remembered as a truly dead game bulldog. Soon after that match, Diablo was hooked into Pete the Greek and Mose Ch. Brazra, a 4-time winner at 47 pounds. A forfeit was paid to Ch. Brazra because Diablo could no longer make that weight and the fight would never go off. Diablo was matched for his championship about 8 months later and at 33 months of age. It was agreed that this match needed to be an against all odds type of match for the 2-time winner. So to confirm everything, DSK felt he was capable of doing and more. So they headed north. This time, traveling to their opponent's backyard once more. Over 1,500 miles from home to the Big Apple, New York City, where all lanes are fast. The match was set at 48 pounds. Into the Gator Boys and their dog Dunga. After 2 hours of waiting past the scheduled time of the show, Dunga arrives. He weighed in at a conditioned 49.5 pounds. And with Diablo being on weight, Diablo being 1,500 miles from his home in Texas now had to push an additional 1.5 pounds. Just one more odd to go against. Once the dogs were released, Diablo took control. But at the 03-minute mark, Dunga had the tip of Diablo's muzzle and had suddenly torn Diablo's nose from the bone, which had him breathing through the mouth. The odds were again stacked higher. But after 21 minutes of being dominated, Dunga shut it down, with this turning out to be Diablo's easiest victory of his career. Afterwards, El Diablo Negro was retired to stud. Finkel Winkles Ch. Dolly. Before I'll tell you the life story of this game little 30 pounds P.W. female, I'll tell you about her ability to produce winning long-winded hard-scratching game dogs which should made any dogman proud. When bred to FWK's 1XW, Dutch, Maloney's Ch. Bert X Hall's Hot Load, she produced the 1X winner in 2.04 Milkman's, Spike. Defeated KKK's champ on a hot Florida summer night, proving to be dead game by running his courtesy to collapse dead in the other's corner after a brutal battle. He was one game brother. Milkman's, Mad Max, who was never matched but sold and vanished out of sight, in a game sister. Junk Yard's, Pinky, who was stolen. And 3 other males were culled at FWK's yard. When bred to Cobra's 4X winner Ch. Speedy, Street B's 1XW Rooster X Cobra's Mesa, she produced FWK's Jupe, a deep game winner of 2 contests. He had a game sister, Caretaker's Suki, who just like Jupe, died on a young age due blood cancer. 2 bitches were placed by Cobra for brood. 1 male he culled. and another male was culled at the yard of the Iron Captain. When bred to Roberto and FWKCH. Ginger, Brosich. Handsome X Brosnutron, she produced 2XW1XL underdogs. Fred. Who's showing in his last and winning match he's dead game to boot. And FWKCH. Dollyson, who lost his first in a game effort to Tex-Mex, CH. Bimbo, and went on to defeat 3 opponents the hard way later on in his career. His littermates and brothers, Ajax. Ginger Jr. and another male, who his name slipped my mind, are still alive on various yards. Their only sister, Red Jackie, died during a roll du heart failure. Glad to know that she's been bred 2 more times and that there are youngsters on the campaign trail and old, Dolly, pups on the ground at here. So far about her offspring. Hear the complete story how I obtained, raised and campaigned this little pit dog. The Rosita versus Dolly match. A classic battle. An old aunt of mine gave me a phone call about 11 years ago and she was telling me that her son had a little Pitbull pup who was too much to handle. And if I was maybe interested to have the pup. At this moment I was loaded with dogs and didn't have the space for even a little mouse. But to help my nephew out, I decided to go and look at the pup. Maybe it was a well-bred one and could be farmed out. When I was entering in my family's house, a cocker spaniel was jumping on me and out of the living room came a very little, thin buckskin pitbull bitch running to the cocker and grabs him by the ear. My nephew's wife was shouting to the bitch to stop. With no avail. I was laughing all the time and released the poor cocker. I said to my nephew, "Hell. She is a nice pup, man." His reply was that she was driving him crazy and if it is normal for a dog to have this behavior. I told him that he doesn't have a average street mutt but a dog who was probably bred for combat purposes. He didn't like it at all and was almost begging me to take the 4-month-old bitch with me home. I asked him if he had any papers on the dog and his wife handed me some ADBA papers which showed that this little firecracker was sired by Champion Ben, a 4X winner out of Red Danger, a 1XW in 2.04. Dogs I had knowledge of. I was really surprised to find such a well-bred pup at this place and left of course the house with the bitch. But not before I had released the pup again to grab the cocker one more time. They were pissed and I was walking to my car all the way smiling. Because I had a little firecracker on my leash. Arrived at home, my wife and daughter liked the pup immediately. Since she was really sweet toward people. Especially children, but I had still the problem that I haven't enough room to place the pup and was calling a friend of mine to farm the pup out. When I was on the phone, a friend of mine was entering into my house with a big 55 pounds chocolate-colored pitbull who really pulled his leash hard. Hell, what's that? He was running in the streets. Looking for some trouble, I guess. My friend says. I recognized this big dog as the dog which was owned by some fellas who were doing a lot of terror in the streets and threatening people with their pit bulls. The kind of a-holes that gave our breed such a bad reputation in our hometown. I was still on the phone and told my friend that I had also got a big bad male with no breeding. Maybe you want to have him too. He said. Yes, bring in the dogs. Which I did. The chocolate, stolen, dog was rolled for 45 minutes. Had shown no talent at all but was to our surprise looking game. But I decided to give him to a farmer as a guard dog and probably he's still around. Anyway, the little pup, which I decided to name Dolly, was brought to my friend and picked up by me about 1 year later. When I heard that the owner of dogs such as Champion, Harley, Champion, Speedy, had obtained a bitch bred by Pat Patrick from St. B. Kennels and was standing open at 30 pounds. My Dolly was rolled at the early age of 10 months without my knowledge into a game cottons. Bullet, bitch, Dolly, killed her in 7 minutes. I rolled her into my strong mask, bitch as soon as I had her back. Dolly and mask fought for 20 minutes. Both determined to wreck each other completely. I stopped the roll due to the fact that I was afraid of losing them both. Mask was matched later on against Peter Parker's 6XWGR. CH. Rasta girl, who was going for her championship into my dog. We lost this very hard one in 108. Both dogs had really destroyed each other and I was not to save my dog. Rasta girl had a hard time also. But finally recovered and won 3 more. One of these against Tattoo Ron's, Nona, in 24 minutes. Also a dog of my kennels originally. I had defeated Cobra before when we were matching my jail bitch into his red bitch. I won this one in 1 hour and 50 minutes. Jail was the dam of Mask, and from the 1X winner, Gary, who had beaten Giant Kennels, Bolio, a son of the famous Street Bees, Dylan. We agreed with each other and a match was made. Scarface as referee. By the command let go, the dogs meet each other hard in the center of the pit. Dolly, riding the head. Rosita, going for the chest. Both dogs can bite hard. But, Dolly, seems to have the better of it. At about 30 minutes both dogs going down. Rosita, comes through and goes for the chest. A turn claimed on Dolly. But even Ray Charles could see that there was in no way a turn made, and also the referee says no turn. Rosita was building up a lead now. And both going on real fast and determined. The crowd goes wild when both dogs going down again and swapping stifle holds. Rosita, coming up first, rooting real deep into Dolly's chest, who is on the floor with a hold on the underjaw. Unable to come up, Rosita is dragging Dolly through the pit. Dolly goes down fast now. She try hard to come up, but she is not strong enough anymore. Out of frustration, Dolly is crying out, and one of the spectators, a well-known dogman, shout out loud that my bitch is gonna die and that I am a scumbag or something like this. I watched my bitch struggling for life. Still determined to wreck the other dog and tell Cobra that he can scratch his dog to win if he like. Dogs were broke off and Dolly, laying down. Stretched out completely. I think the same nitwit shout out again. That the dog is dead. I'm quoting Earl Tudor says, "Hey. You want to see a dead dog scratch?" Rosita makes a real fast scratch and won. Dolly, soon as she was released, cries for more and was giving one of these amazing stumbling, deep game, wide open courtesy scratches. The crowd was going wild. Rosita, the winner in 110. Several fanciers told me afterwards that they had just saw the best match of their life. I was driving home with a badly wounded dog who had lost but who had satisfied me completely. I was bringing home the real McCoy. A damn little game bulldog which makes me proud to own. Rosita was sold to Bad Boys Kennels and won 2 more in short order. A real good fighting dog. Who had showed to be a game one also in her first match. Bryant Ch. Ben X O'Neillsir danger equals FWK. S. Dolly Gonzalesino regrets X Patrick's Rose equals Cobras BB. S. Ch. Rosita. P.S. About that stolen dog we had. I think snitches and dog thieves are the lowest kind of scum in the sport. And I don't have any compassion for this kind of people. But let me tell you all this. When some idiots are running in the street with our breed of dogs, don't hesitate to take these dogs away from them before somebody gets killed. By Finkel Winkle. Thanks again for listening to the Texas Scratch King channel. Until the next time, my friends, as we always say, never submit to life and keep scratching every time.